When I started reading The Baptist Head by Duncan Barford and Alan Chapman, I was aware that it was a documentation of their magical practices, but I was totally unprepared for what I would learn through following their journey. If you haven't read this book, I would highly recommend it. I wish there were more books like this out there, but perhaps the reason The Baptist Head is so good, in my opinion, is because it is so different to a lot of the magical books out there. So let's get into the unexpected magical lessons that I learned from reading The Baptist Head. The first lesson is that magic is meant to be fun. When I started out reading about magic, and even before I started practicing it, it all seemed very serious, didn't sound as though fun came into it at all. But reading through the different magical workings and practices that Duncan and Alan did, it sounds like they had a lot of fun with it. And the thing is, if you can't have fun with magic, it's probably going to make your experience of it very dull and very boring. Surely magic should be fun. We're trying to manipulate our material reality. We're trying to increase the probability of certain things happening. And if we can't have fun doing that, then when can we actually have fun in this material world? The second lesson sounds contradictory, but I don't think it is. Magic is meant to be serious. Alan and Duncan, as much as they have a lot of fun, reading through their accounts, they clearly take magic very seriously. They put a lot of work into their magic and their supporting practices. From what I could tell, they meditated a lot. As I'll cover in the other lessons, there was a lot of experimentation and refining that went on. And so these are clearly two people that take magic seriously. They want to get results from it, and they're willing to really sort of think about what they're doing, why it didn't work, and what they can do differently. So if something doesn't work for you, don't just take that as a sign that magic doesn't work wholesale. Have a think about what factors might have contributed to it not working. And this is why having a magical diary is so important. That's why I started keeping one. It's a bit like the mundane world, I guess. If you want to increase your chances of success, you have to put in the work. And reading this, it made me realise that it's no different with magic. The next lesson is be prepared to get things wrong. If we're trying new things out or stepping outside our comfort zone, then the chances are we're gonna get it wrong, we're gonna muck up, and that's okay. Perhaps as we work with more complex forms of magic, maybe we want to be a bit more prepared for that. Maybe there's more at risk if we get that wrong versus we muck up a sigil, for example. So I think there's different levels of that. And sometimes it's only after the fact that we realise, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. This is the whole point. If we don't try the thing in the first place, sometimes we don't realise what needs to be done differently until we actually do the thing in the first place. And this is why it's so important to just get out there and do the magic so that we can figure out where we went wrong and what we need to do differently next time. The next lesson is having the humility to admit your mistakes. Throughout the Baptist Head, Duncan and Alan talk about the ways that they muck up. And not only that, they will write about when something's gone really well and they're really pleased and hyped up about it. Then later on, they realise that the thing they were hyped up about wasn't the thing they thought it was. And actually, okay, now I need to do this different thing to try and get the result I actually thought I had. They could have quite easily not included things like that. They could have made everything seem as though it went really smoothly. But I like the fact that they show us all that. I don't think it helps that a lot of magical books portray people doing their magical workings and there's none of that kind of refining the process included in it. It's just almost like the finished product. Maybe not everyone feels like this, but people like me, I look at it and think, why can't I just do that? But we don't see the workings behind it, which I think would be helpful to kind of just humanize it a bit. And I think that's what Duncan and Alan do really well in the book. They remind us without telling us through their writing and what they did that they're human beings trying to do magic. They admit when they get it wrong. So we're not under any illusion that they are extraordinary human beings and that we have no chance of ever reaching the heights that they achieved. If they can do it, and I think they say this, if they can do it, then other people can too. The next lesson is being prepared to refine your magic. And I mentioned this earlier. It's a bit like seeing magic as a scientific experiment. You prepare as much as you can, get all the necessary details so that you can perform the operation. You perform the operation and record the results. You record your method as well. That's really important. Record your method, record the results, and then you review it. And it might be that once you've reviewed it, once you've looked through your method, it stares you in the face and you go, that's where I went wrong. Let's try this again and I will tweak this, and we'll see what happens. And I know that when we do a magical operation, we want it to work. But I also think it's about trying to let go of the need to get it quote unquote right first time, but maybe going in with a bit more of an open attitude of, okay, let's give this a go. I've prepared as much as I can for this. Let's give it a go and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, we'll refine, we'll rethink, and we will do it again. I think that's a much more realistic way of approaching magic than trying to get it perfect or right first time. The next lesson is probably a bit difficult, perhaps for some people, and it is for me because I don't know anyone in real life who practices magic. But the next lesson is to perform magic with others in person if you can. Just reading through Alan and Duncan's accounts of the magic they did together, it just sounds like it was really fun, but also that when you do it with other people, it can be a really powerful experience. You can get really powerful results. And I would love to be able to do that, but I don't know anyone in person, and I'm a bit wary of trying to find people out there because you never know who you're going to end up meeting. So that's a shame. But I guess to compensate, there are online communities. They do magical workings online, so that could be a potential avenue. But if you are able to do magic with others in person and you feel safe, you trust these people, you feel comfortable, then it might be worth giving it a go and see what happens. The next lesson is the link between magic and enlightenment or awakening, however you want to call it. I've been interested in spiritual topics since I was a teenager. You would find me in the New Age section of the bookshop. And I started reading a lot about Buddhism. That really captured my imagination, and this idea of being able to reach a state where you connected to a higher place. You realized the nature of reality. When I started reading The Baptist Head, Alan and Duncan were talking about the Holy Guardian Angel, and then they were comparing the stages of achieving the knowledge and conversation and beyond, comparing the stages of that in the Buddhist tradition. I think how Daniel Ingram maps it out. And I thought, oh, okay, so this Holy Guardian Angel thing, it's similar to awakening. It is awakening. And I had no idea about that at all. And that blew my mind a bit. Now, I think Duncan and Alan got some stick about this, particularly in the chaos magic arena, because I think some people, their belief is that awakening or enlightenment or the Holy Guardian Angel, that thing is not magic. It's not part of magic. And again, Alan and Duncan, they got some stick for saying that they were enlightened. I don't think some people were happy that they were claiming to have been enlightened. This whole book is like a big permission slip to say, you can do this. We're two ordinary people. We experimented a lot. We put a lot of work into this. We've documented all of it here, and we have achieved enlightenment, awakening, however you want to call it. And that gives me a lot of hope that I can do it too. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about these lessons from the Baptist Head. I'll put a link in the description to the book. You can get a hard copy of the book. You can also get a Kindle edition, which is cheaper. But either way, highly recommended, and I hope you enjoy it. Take good care, be well, and I will see you soon.